My fiancée is a bartender, and we first met when she was on the job. She noticed that it was my first time there, and we struck up a conversation. I became a regular customer and would go to her bar often, so I would have chance to see her. Eventually, I asked for her number. That was how we started dating. At first, when we started dating, I would watch as her regular customers tip her really well, and she would show her appreciation by serving them first when they show up the next time. Seeing her interact with her favorite customers made me kind of jealous. Her interactions weren't inappropriate, and she wasn't touching or showing any sorts of affection. But sitting there and watching her talk to guys after guys was tough for me. So I decided to stop showing up at her job. When she asked me why, I told her I don't feel comfortable watching her interact with guys after guys. She promised me that it was part of her job, and that was how she pays her bills. And there is nothing extra going on, and she had no feelings for any of them. I trusted her, and we soon forgot all about it. We dated for 7 months and decided to get engaged. Not so long after, we were planning to have a family. She wanted kids more than me because all her friends have already had kids, and she grew up thinking about having a big family. But it wasn't so easy. We had two miscarriages really close to each other. It is something that devastated both of us deeply, especially since she wanted to be a mom. We spent thousands on treatment for her condition, but was simply not possible until all of a sudden, when we decided to simply give up on that dream, is that she started feeling sick. So she went to the doctor, and the news came in. She was pregnant of almost 4 months. We were both unable to even understand the feeling of joy and happiness that came to us. But since we were not aware of such a thing happening, it meant that she had around 4 months of carrying heavy stuff, drinking at her job, and smoking, which ultimately caused our baby to pass away a couple of days after. She was devastated and blaming herself constantly, over and over and over and over, screaming in her sleep, constantly screaming that she killed our baby. Not gonna lie, those couple of months were one of the worst in my entire life. But there was something positive out of it. It means that it was possible to get pregnant after all. There was a chance, and we held down on that fickle thing. Our life was grasping on that single idea, and because of that, she was able to look forward and move on. She decided to quit her job, and I welcomed it. My salary was enough to sustain us, so she didn't have to work. She went through therapy and was constantly exercising every morning. I felt her mood brightened day by day, and our relationship got better. Then, after an operation and some other medical stuff, we were ready. I was putting more hours at work because the medical bills were piling up, even though we had insurance. But no worries, because it finally happened. We did everything properly this time: medical checkups, taking vitamins, no smoking or liquor, exercise, healthy food, you name it, all on target and checked. But around 6 months, it happened again. This time, with no apparent reason. It just happened. We lost him, and there was no one to blame this time. Nothing was wrong. It happened so fast, and in less than 2 days, he was gone. This time, it hit us even worse, since there was no one to blame. My fiancée started getting paranoid, blaming the doctor, the nurses, herself, the medicine, and of course, me as well. Once more, the several months of having to cope with this were not nice. My body even coped this by giving me super light sleep, in which when I hear her scream or having nightmares, I automatically wake up, hug her, tell her that everything is gonna be alright. And after she calmed down, immediately falling asleep, sleeping a couple of hours per night, and also staying awake when the nightmares got worse. In all of the time that this has happened, I have had people calling me to ask how she was, or ask if something is needed, as they were too afraid to bring it to her. I have internalized my pain all this time, unable to even mention to her that I am completely destroyed, because she always tells me that she leaned on me all this time and feeling guilty of it. But when I falter is when I realize that she's worsened her condition, so I learned to keep it sealed. I tried once to mention something and it didn't go well. She had a little mental breakdown and I couldn't continue. She was definitely very strong to endure this whole process, but break easily when I showed something as she needed my strength to keep on going. And showing anything makes her feel guilty. She became a completely different person to the woman I loved. She created complexes, change of mood, and things that are coping mechanism. But we kept on moving forward. One day, she told me that she was getting her job back because we were struggling with money due to all the medical bills that we had to pay. I felt sad about it because I know it was a sign that we were giving up hope of having a child, which is something she has always wanted. However, I knew that all the medical bills were getting harder for me to catch up. I also thought that maybe if she started working again, it would bring back the old her, the version I fell in love with. But 2 weeks after she started at her job, she became even more distant. I come back home from work at 5 p.m. and she works till 3 a.m. So we don't really see each other, except on weekends when I'm not working. I wanted to change things up. Maybe if I recreate when I had visited her at work, it will reinvigorate our relationship. So, one Friday night, I decided to drop by at her work. I came there around 10 p.m., unannounced. I didn't see her bartending when I came there. There were two female bartenders working behind the bar. Since there were usually three, I thought maybe she was at the back or went to the restroom. So I waited. After 20 minutes or so, one of the bartenders saw me and identified me. She told me that my fiance left 30 minutes ago and I just missed her. I asked the bartender why she left and that I was trying to surprise her at work. And she told me that my fiance has been leaving early at 10 p.m. since she came back. I was surprised because she never told me. I pretended like I already knew because the bartender was looking at me weird. I walked out of the bar, confused as hell, because my fiance has always come home at around 3 p.m. since she started bartending again. We both share our location on our iPhone, and her iPhone is telling me that she was a few steps away from us in the parking lot. The parking lot was full of cars that day, but further out in the wooded area where there were fewer cars, and that was where her phone was showing. Initially, I thought that was where she parked her car. But then why would she park her car so far from the bar? As I was walking towards her phone location, I saw her car was still parked closer at the bar, where she normally parks. I looked around her car to make sure that it was her car, and nothing was wrong with it. I was confused about why her phone was showing that she was about 50 yards away from her car in the wooded area. There were about 3 or 4 cars parked in that area, and the closer I got, the more I realized that someone was sitting on the driver's side of one of the cars. The rest of the cars seemed empty. I didn't know what to expect as I came closer to the driver's side. I wasn't prepared for what I saw. My fiance was blowing this guy in his car. I stood there for a few seconds in shock before he saw me and raised her head up to hide his junk. She saw me and immediately covered her face. I was standing there freaking out. I recognized the man. He used to be one of her customers I remember that gives her large tips. My mind immediately flashed back to all the customers that were tipping her generously and how she used to tell me that it meant nothing. So I was right to feel uncomfortable about the attention she was showing her favorite customers about 8 months ago. The man immediately drove away and left me in the dust. I was still standing there in shock when the car suddenly stopped and my fiancée got out and started running back to me while the car drove away. She came to me and started begging me that she was sorry and that it had never happened before, and she had been feeling sad and depressed and had been thinking about deleting herself and was doing all she could to feel better about herself. She told me that she wanted us to go home together and just wanted to hold me and didn't want to lose me. I told her that I needed some space right now to process what I just witnessed. I kept on walking fast towards my car as she followed behind me, telling me that she was sorry. She caught up to me and tried to hold my hands, but I forcefully pushed her away. When we got home, she confessed because I wanted to search her phone, and I told her to come clean for any chance of reconciliation. And guess what? There were four more customers that she had been having an affair with during the time of her pregnancy. She confessed because I would have found out if I had checked her phone. So while we were trying to have a baby together, she was having excess with other people behind my back. She claimed that she was using protection, but I don't believe her. When I caught her in the car blowing one of her customers, she was doing it raw, no protection. I believe our entire relationship has been a lie. And unfortunately, the miscarriages were for the best. Had it been that she got pregnant, we would eventually get married, and I would have never suspected that she was cheating on me with five other guys. And who knows, maybe the child wouldn't be mine. I told her that night that I don't think we can continue the relationship, and she told me that she would delete herself if I left her. At this point, I know that she's saying that to manipulate me and keep me in this relationship, but I have learned from my mistake. I already told my best friend about it, and I would be moving in with him till I find a permanent living arrangement. At first, I didn't tell my family about it because I feel embarrassed to tell them. I know how disappointed they will be since they loved her so much. 2 weeks after D-Day, I finally moved out of the apartment, and she was trying to get me to help her pay her medical bills. I told her that I can't support her on that, and I am not legally obligated to do so because we weren't married. I told her that she should ask all the affair partners she was cheating on me with to donate money to help her pay her bills. I wanted to keep our breakup quiet, but when she started spreading rumors that I was the one cheating, trying to tarnish my name, I decided to tell all my family members what really happened. And I also told our mutual friends that she was cheating on me with multiple men. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Please hit the thumbs up so the algorithm would promote my video. Thank you very much and have a wonderful day.